Hello class, Professor Kinto here. In this presentation I'm going to introduce you to county government in Texas. So remember, we're going to be looking at three types of local government. We're going to be looking at county government, municipal government, and then special districts. In this first part I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about county government in Texas. So when you think about county government, I want you to think about several things. First off, keep in mind that counties in Texas are actually creations of the Texas legislature. So one of the things I try to do in my Texas and federal government classes is demonstrate how the legislatures of the national government or the legislatures of states are, they're not just about passing laws, but they're also given authority in the constitutions, the respective constitutions, to create things. And one of the things that the Texas Constitution allows the Texas legislature to do is to create counties. So we've got 254 counties in the state of Texas. Every one of these counties are creations of the Texas legislature. When you're looking at counties, I want you to think about two things further. Number one, they are meant largely, they're created largely to carry out state policy. So in other words, the Texas legislature will determine what state policy is, but then it's handed over to the counties to administer a good part of that. And along that same line, when we move into the area of the county itself, who exactly is going to be in charge of administering that state determined policy? Well, that's going to be folks who are elected locally. So again, stepping back, the state legislature will determine what policy is going to be across the state, but who is actually going to carry it out? Well, in many instances, it's actually county government that's going to be doing that. And as we're going to walk our way through this pretty quickly, county government officials, the heads of the various divisions or departments inside of a county are going to be folks who are elected. So one of the things I want you to keep in mind also is Texas is actually has more counties than any other state. And just by way of trivia, because I don't plan on testing you over this, but just to think about counties, we have some counties in our state that you could actually fit two different states in. So this first bullet point here, you could actually fit the state of Connecticut and the state of Rhode Island into Brewster County. And if you don't know where Brewster County is, it's right down here in the Big Bend area. Lots of wide open spaces, not a whole lot of people. So 9,300 people in that county. But if you want to look at one of the smaller counties in Texas, and I'm talking about square miles, if you go up here to the northeastern part of Dallas, where the pointer is, that's Rockwall County. It's our smallest county, and it has only 83,000 people in it. And then if you want to compare Harris County, which was my home for about 30 years before coming to Victoria College in the Houston area, so Harris County, and the city of Houston is inside of Harris County. That's actually, the county itself is the third most populous county in the entire country. There's only two counties that have more people in the country, and that's Los Angeles County and then Cook County, where Chicago is. But you've got almost 5 million people in Harris County itself. So we've got a very diverse set of counties. If you want to look here more locally, Victoria County itself has roughly 91,000 people and covers about 900 square miles. And that 91,000 is based upon the census figures from 2020. Let's move along. Okay, sorry for that interruption. I had to step away. I was actually talking with a student. But so county government in Texas, I've got roads and bridges in the background here because that's what I want you to think about, county government is responsible largely for the building and maintaining of roads within a county. So if you're looking at function here, functions of county government. So very quickly, functions of county government. I listed number one here, road and bridge maintenance. So if you were to go around the counties in Texas where there is some work being done, such as widening a road or even building a new road or replacing sidewalk along the road, something like that. If you look closer, you're probably going to see a white sign that tells you that the county is responsible for this and how much money they're spending on it. Okay? They're making that public notice. So think road and bridge maintenance. I want you to also think about law enforcement. So there are a couple of law enforcement officials that you're probably familiar with. You got the county sheriff, and then you have constables. These are both employees of the county government. Both of those positions, by the way, are elected. Then you also have courts and judicial proceedings. So you're going to have county courts at law. You may have some justice courts. Record keeping, you can think about the county clerk. You can think about district clerks, but primarily county clerks. The county clerks are going to keep records like death and marriage and birth, as well as deed records and even records of voting. And then you have social services. Now this depends on the county that you're in, what kind of services they offer. I do know, for instance, in Harris County, where I practiced law for close to 20 years, one of the things that Harris County would do if a couple was going through a divorce and they had children, the judges are typically going to refer to counseling. And if you can't afford a counselor, the Harris County will offer a licensed counselor to come speak with you for a pretty reduced fee, and in some instances for nothing. Now, one of the things I want you to think about also is the key administrative body. So what you've got down here is a picture of the current Commissioner's Court in Harris County, where Houston is. You got the county judge in the middle, and then you have these 4 commissioners down at the bottom. Now, every county is supposed to be set up this way. Every county has something called a Commissioner's Court, and that Commissioner's Court is going to be presided over by the county judge, and you're going to have 4 commissioners, or 4 precinct commissioners. Now, on your website, I plan on uploading a link to Victoria County and maybe even some other counties, but at least Victoria County, so you can click on there and see who the current county judge is and the current precinct commissioners. But let's move along here. There are a lot of different county offices that counties will have. You're probably familiar with some of them, but the main governing body is the County Commissioner's Court, as I've already said. Every county in Texas will have a Commissioner's Court with 5 people sitting on it, assuming there aren't any vacant offices. This is not a court of law where you have evidence. That's not what this is. The Commissioner's Court is an administrative body. Think of them as the legislative body for that county. Okay? They don't have hearings as far as evidence and trials. That's not what this court is all about. So there you go. You're going to have a county judge and 4 county commissioners. That's what they do. One of the things that they'll do is they'll set the county tax rate, and they'll set up the county budget. The county budget would include things like roads and bridges, maintaining county jails, indigent health care, depending on what responsibilities that county has, what they've taken on. This is what this Commissioner's Court is going to do. Now, I'm not going to give you a whole lot of detail on this one. What you're looking at here is the skyline of Harris County, again, where I practiced law for a long time. And these are all actually county buildings, believe it or not. So take Victoria, downtown Victoria, and amplify it by about 10, actually more than that, and this is what you have here. So for instance, on the left, this is where all the criminal courts are. And this right here, this dome building, this is where all the civil courts are. This right here is the old civil courts building, and this is now, I believe, they've turned this into a museum. And this shorter building here, this is the county jail that the county sheriff is responsible for. But let's move along here. So the sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer, and they have county-wide responsibilities. Your textbook will touch a little bit more on the sheriff's duties, but the sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer. There's only one sheriff per county, and this is an elected position. Now, you're also going to have constables, but you may you may have more than one constable. Constable is also elected. Excuse me. So you're used to probably seeing sheriff's cars driving around, constables' cars driving around. What you're probably seeing are the deputy sheriffs and the deputy constables. So every county is going to have one sheriff, and every county will have at least one constable. And when you think about constables, what I want you to think about is justice courts, or justices of the peace courts, because constables are originally created in the state of Texas to work hand in hand with a justice of the peace. Okay? So you may have, for instance, in our largest counties, in Harris County, where Houston is, you may have 8 constables. Or in smaller counties, you may have 1. Mid-sized counties, you may have 2. So it just depends on how many people are in that county. You also have county attorneys. What that county attorney will do just depends again on the specific county. For instance, if you look at the Harris County county attorney, that county attorney is only going to work on civil matters. They're not going to touch crimes. But in some counties, that county attorney will be a prosecutor of misdemeanors and will also, at the end of the day, work on civil cases. So it really just depends on the county. District attorneys are going to be your chief prosecutors in the state. The DA, you probably recognize that designation. When you think about district attorneys, I want you to think about predominantly felonies. But in some counties, the district attorney will also prosecute misdemeanors. So felonies in the state of Texas will always be prosecuted by the district attorneys. But whether or not the district attorney's office is going to handle misdemeanors, that's up to the county. Going back to Harris County, so I shared with you all that the county attorney is going to be a civil attorney primarily and doesn't touch crimes. Well, if you look at the district attorney in Harris County, that district attorney's office is going to handle both civil matter or both misdemeanors and felonies. So the building to your left, just as an example, you're going to have members of the district attorney, deputy DAs in this building here, prosecuting felonies in the district courts and prosecuting misdemeanors in the county courts at law. But that's Harris County. Not all counties do that. And then you're going to have county and district clerks. And again, these are record keepers. The district clerks, I want you to think about district clerks and district courts. The district clerks are going to be working hand in hand with the district courts. Okay, let's move along. And you may have some other county officials, but so the tax assessor, collector, the treasurer, the county auditor, so on. And there's your couple pictures of your 2 chief law enforcement officers. The Harris County Sheriff, or the county sheriff, you're going to have 1 in every county, as I said. County-wide. The constable, it really just depends again on the county, but they're going to be responsible for a precinct. So remember, the constables are going to work hand in hand with the JP. So for instance, here in Victoria County, it's nicely divided into 4 precincts, 4 justices of the peace, and along with those you have 4 constables. And one other thing, now we're going through this pretty quickly because I don't want to bog you down with a long video, an extra long video. But county officials at the highest level, all those offices that I just shared with you, sheriff, district attorney, constables, the commissioners, the county judge, these are all elected officials. Okay? They're all elected, and these are partisan elections. We know in Texas whether they're Republican or Democrat. And when you go into the voting booth, the ballot will indicate whether they are Republican or whether they are Democrat. And how do you oust them? Well, of course, they're subject to being scrutinized. They can be sued. There have been many instances in the history of Texas where county officials have been sued for fraud successfully. But of course, since these people are voted in and out, that's how they can be answerable to the people. And that's all.